Okay, so I guess when you go sourcing in the morning, and
Mhm.
what's the first avenue you take? I guess, and then
Yeah, great question.
run me through that.
So at this point, because have always sent, I have so much product that I've sent in, catalog, et cetera, et cetera. First thing is I'm always having new products check in for the first time every couple of days, right?
Nice.
So I'm literally making notes on my to buy list, whether that's in my phone, whether that's on a pad and paper, and I just kind of, and that's a pretty extensive list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you've been selling for 3.5 years, you have a lot of things that are out of stock that I'm checking every single day. It takes 2 seconds, right? I click a button. So things that maybe I know that I need to replenish or look for more of. Maybe the price isn't right. Maybe things have changed, but I
Uh-huh.
always have a list that I go in with. Second, I started using a leads list that I love a couple months ago. So that's
Nice.
something that I try to get after pretty early on too. And
Mhm.
that's never just the leads list. That's also other variations and
Right,
sales
right.
that are found. So that can consume some time as well. Let's just say I have a slow day. I do the leads list, which is every day, and I don't really have anything I need to replenish. I'm kind of stuck. I have an ongoing Excel sheet with every brand that I've sold, and basically I can do a couple of different keep up product finders, right?
Okay.
I love out of stock, no sales rank, multi
Mm.
packs. I'll go to some sites that I've done well with, see if there's any special sales going on at this time or special. I hate to say this to like beginners, but like there's a lot of advantages of being around. It's just like in the sense that I have had so much data to pull from and so
Right.
many items and sites and memory that like I can always build some momentum somehow, some way through some of those examples.
Right. Yeah, I think my spreadsheet has so many leads I've exported from Seller Amp, just the Google Sheet export. It's
Yeah,
just like sheets and sheets of just data now that I bought in the past year and a half. So I
right.
totally get what you're saying. So as far as keep a product finder, what are those? Can you kind of just briefly go into those three separate
Sure.
strategies that you said? No sales rank, the multi packs and whatnot.
Yeah, totally. So something that I absolutely love is trying to find out of stock items.
Mhm.
And just to paint a picture on why that's great, because if it's a high demand item and you can find it, you're going to be able to charge a premium. You're not going to have competition.
Mhm.
And sometimes that means you don't even have to find it at a discount, right? And so not only do you get that initial find, but what I've found for a lot of out of stock items, let's say there's a national shortage. Well, 1,000 come back in stock. So you're on that first wave, and then
Yeah.
another 1,000 come 2 months, 3 months later, whatever it is. It's not like it's very rare that I found a lot of things go from zero to infinite supply, right? Um, from my experience, generally speaking. So now I'm also on top of that, right? I see how mine are selling, and then I
Uh-huh.
kind of see are more sellers coming on or not. So anyway, long story short, absolutely love out of stock. Basically, there's a tab. You can make sure that Amazon's out of stock. You can make sure new sellers are out of stock, and you can filter by brand. Okay, so that's relatively simple.
Uh-huh.
I have videos on these, by the way, on YouTube. As far as no sales rank, why I like that, anytime that there's less data, there's less competition because less people understand it. So if you know how to look at a chart with no sales rank and paint the picture of what's going on based on other context clues,
I
that can
think
be a
you're
huge
right.
advantage. And I also find that the prices for those are typically much more consistent
Mm.
because so many less people are on them.
Right.
And then,
Okay.
and then lastly, I like looking for multi packs and variety packs. Um, and so, like, especially like grocery or supplements and vitamins, you find a one pack that you really like, or maybe there's just not enough room. Go in to keep a product finder, filter it by brand. For keywords, you can type in like pack of
Mhm.
two pack, variety pack, whatever you think's creative could show up on Amazon. And now I'm going to see things that way. And so that's something, again, a lot of people don't know how to get to it. They don't know how to find them, et cetera, et cetera. So what these are doing are presenting me with things that less people know how to do. And that if I could find them, I have a very good chance of finding winning products.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Good stuff. I guess for the items that have are out of stock, I guess when you look at the keep, I'd imagine their sellers rank has increased exponentially. So I guess
Yeah.
look back and see if there's been good activity before it hit that just out of stock and just sellers rank just went up. Right.
That's a good point. Yes, and that's a great example that a lot of times these sales ranks can go up to the 500 plus
Yeah.
thousand range.
If they're out of
I
stock.
love
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that because you have to be really confident and know what you're
Yeah.
doing to buy something with a $500,000 sales rank. and
Right.
I don't flinch at it now, right?
Yeah.
But I will say to that point, there's a big difference between something that's been out of stock for 3 days and
Yeah.
3 months, right?
Yeah.
3 days, by the time I order it, someone else could have all of their inventory back, you know? So another thing with out of stock, don't just take Keepa's word for it. Go to Google, do some searches. Is this product very easily accessible? Because if so, you might not be on a gold mine. You know, it's always about combining context clues.
Okay. So when you are finding these profitable products, what kind of buying criteria do you kind of stick by? Do you have a certain kind of ROI, profit margin, et cetera?
I think guidelines are great and they'll keep you on track, but truly, it's never a one size fits all. But I do have a general rule of thumb. I've recently taken on 40% ROI as like my minimum standard, right? I can't tell you how many 30%ers I've passed on. And I could see where people say, go for the low hanging fruit, whatever. I get that theory, but because of my budget limitations and the fact that I don't mind spending a little more time, I'm good with it. So I like 40%. I like to typically have at least $5 profit.
Yeah.
You need to have some type of cushion, right? And so I don't care what the ROI is. If you're not enough just straight up profit dollar wise, you're not leaving enough opportunity because things change. Even if you play something perfectly textbook, things change that you can't predict in the future. And so there's too much out there. And that's something that comes with time. You just truly understand there's so much infinite grade out there that unless your budget is truly so much and or your time limit is so little, you don't need to go for the low hanging fruit. I get why people do it that have the capital or lack of time, but you don't have to. Okay. And I think a lot of us here, 30%, that be happy with it. That's something that changed for me recently. And I've seen a really nice increase in margin because of that.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah. I kind of go for 30% as well, unless if it's shoes or apparel, I'll try to stick with even 40% just to offset those returns and whatnot.
And by the way, sorry, but let me just add one other thing.
No, go ahead.
On paper versus the Keepa chart is a different story. I can have something today that's $5 profit, but the seller count is decreasing like crazy. I can't find it hardly anywhere. Well, that $5 at 30% today is going to be $10 at 60% tomorrow, and vice versa. A lot of this is predicting what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks, not just current day on paper. And so that plays a lot into it as well.
Yeah. And then that $5 profit margin that you're discussing,